Hello everyone. I wanted to go over the Module 3 Capstone assignment because I think a lot of people struggle with this particular assignment, and part of it is just trying to figure out how should I organize the information. So there's many ways that you could have organized the information given to you in the capstone, but just remember we need to have all those numbers. So the particular each realtor and all of their sales, we need to have all of those numbers in place, and then we need to start designing what are the actual calculations that we need. So for instance, in the instructions it says we need total sales by city. So I know I'm going to need to have a column or a row that's going to calculate how much they sold in Aurora, how much they sold in Brighton, etc. Same thing down here, I have total sales by realtor and then what their average sales are, because that's the thing. Sometimes when you're setting up a spreadsheet, even if this isn't your business, setting up the information in a way that makes sense. So put your kind of realtor hat on. That sounds like elementary school, but try to think how a realtor would think and what kind of data they might need and how we can calculate it. So the one thing with the Excel spreadsheet is all about math, and it's about doing that math for you quickly and easily. So if you don't use formulas and calculations in here, then you're going to fail this assignment. So I know sometimes formulas can be hard, and that's why I wanted to show you, go over some things here. So this is how I've chosen to design my spreadsheet. This one is all about sales. So this area here is all about their sales. I have all the sales information for Murray, Goulet, and Jones in here. I haven't done any formatting yet. We're going to talk about that in a second. And then I know that I'm going to need to calculate the commission. So each realtor gets 4% of the sale, and then MoveNOW also gets 4% of the sale. And if you know anything about real estate, then the rest of that sale price will go back to the homeowner who's selling it. So anyway, the first thing you're going to want to do is organize and start formatting. So I have all of my cities here. You might have had your realtors here and then put your cities here. And there's actually quite a few different ways to organize this. And then you want to use some color and some number formatting. So I know that this, and even where I'm going to have over here and down here, I know it's all going to be in dollar amounts. And I don't like decimals. They freak me out because it just seems like it complicates things that don't need to be complicated. So you can choose decimals if you want to, but I prefer not to. And I know I'm going to have money calculations down here, and I probably will add some things down here. So I'm just going to do the same thing. Now, if I were to type in, let's say 500, it's going to automatically calculate and put it as a dollar amount. Okay. So in terms of color, I'm going to go ahead and just do some different shades here so that I can tell the three different realtors visually. You can see that these kind of all belong together, these belong together, and then these belong together. You do have to show merged formatting, so I'm going to insert up here, and I'm going to go all the way across here and do merge and make it really big. And this is where I'm going to say sales information, and maybe I'm going to merge that, and I'm going to copy this, put it down here, and do commission information. Just edit that right there. Okay. So now we need to actually start figuring out the calculations. So if I want to know how much Aurora has sold, I'm going to do a calculation. Now you can do equals, and then you can do this and hit the plus sign, this, and that's really tedious. So we're going to use the sum function. So if I go up to the formulas section and go to auto sum, and I'm on a Mac, so it looks a little bit different, but Mac kind of has the exact same stuff. It just looks a little bit different. So I'm going to hit sum, and it's saying I want to add the sum of cells B4 through D4, which is true. So I'm going to hit enter or return, and I don't have to do that all the way down here, because all I have to do is take this particular cell and grab this bottom right hand. You can see the little square when that cell is active. Grab that and drag it down. And what that's going to do is it knows that it's going to be the exact same formula, but it's always going to change the row because we're moving vertically. So this is row 5. We're going to calculate B5 through D5, B6 through D6, B7 through D7, etc. Okay, so once we have all of that information for total sales by city, now we need to come do total sales by realtor. So I'm going to do auto sum, And see how it's calculating this empty cell of B13? I don't really need that. So I can click and drag and just choose the range and hit enter return. One thing I was seeing that people had an issue with is they were putting 0. So basically saying Murray sold 0 in Thornton. But when you do that, you're going to really throw their average off. And just because he doesn't sell anything in Thornton doesn't mean he should kind of be penalized, or his overall average should be penalized, because he's actually selling quite a bit. And then this person might sell quite a bit in only a few different areas. So this is where you have to kind of think through and say, is it really something where I need to put 0? And if it's not, then don't put it. So I didn't put anything for these. And I think for these, I think it's going to make more sense to, I like to have the borders so that I can easily see that. All right. So once again, it's going to be the exact same formula. The only thing that's going to change now, since we're moving across horizontally, is the cell numbers 4 through 12 are going to stay the same. This is 4 through 12. This is 4 through 12. The only thing that changes is the actual column. So it knows when you do this copy reference that it's going to change this to C4 through C12 and D4 through D12. Okay, so basically Jones has sold the most, and yet he didn't sell to all the cities. So again, another reason why we're not putting 0. All right, so in average sales by realtor, we're going to go to formulas, and we're going to look up a different formula, and this time it's average. And again, it tries to look at the number right above it. It assumes you're trying to calculate right above it, which is not true. I want to actually calculate all of these. So I want to say however many cities they could have sold in, and then what is the average of that. So I'm going to hit enter or return. And so the average sale for Murray is $473,750. So again, I can copy that over. There we go. Okay, so now how do we calculate the commission? We saw that when we copy these over that it knew when it should change the column reference and when it should change the row number. But this one is the actual commission for realtors. This is the 4%, and we want it to always reference this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, Murray, what was his commission for the Aurora house? Well, I'm going to do equals the total sale price multiplied by the commission. So I'm going to hit enter return, and it's $21,160. So he made that commission. Now, if I pull this down, all of a sudden it's giving us weird values. Okay, this one is giving us an error, so help on this error. I don't want to do that. So basically it's just saying something is weird. And that's because it's saying it's multiplying B5 by C19. So if we go here and we look at C19, so it's trying to multiply this number by Goulet. Well, that doesn't make any sense. We actually want it to just continue looking at this. So that's where we do something called a cell reference, where we say this cell is not going to change no matter where you're copied and pasted to. So instead of saying just C18, we're going to put little dollar signs in front of the column reference, so C, and a dollar sign in front of the row reference, which is 18. So think of these dollar signs as saying, keep these numbers concrete. They should not move. So now it's still 21,000, but now if I copy this down, it's going to calculate, and you'll see that even though it changes to B5, B6, B7, oops, cancel. You'll see that this still stays at C18. So now when we come in here, I'm going to hit escape because I was trying to do that. So now what I can do is I can copy all of these over. So now this should be saying what is C4, yes, by C18. So Goulet's Aurora house multiplied by the commission, etc. So MoveNOW commission by city. So this is where I'm going to do the same thing. So basically I can actually just copy this over. So MoveNOW's commission for all of Aurora, because there are 3 houses sold in Aurora, is $106,122. As you can see, all these have little decimal places, and that drives me crazy. So I'm going to move that down. Okay, so now you can say, what is their total commission? Total commission. All right, so now we just need to do formulas, sum, and Move that over. Now you can see that Murray made $151,000 on commission. Jones is looking pretty at $167,000 for all those commissions. And then MoveNOW made this with all three of their realtors. So anyway, what this spreadsheet should tell you is that you should become a realtor. I want to say I'm kidding, but I'm not. I'm serious. Just kidding. So now I just need to do some formatting and make sure I have all the calculations, and I may or may not. You're going to have to check the instructions to make sure that you have included all the calculations. And then as a part of the assignment, you should be making a chart. So you can make any chart you want. You can say sales by city. So total sales by city. You can do total sales by realtor, and make sure when you create that chart that you put it on a new worksheet. So if you were to create a chart, let's do total sales by city and insert, let's do a pie chart. We're going to just do a regular pie chart. So see how it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 because we didn't highlight the cities in there. So it's not a big deal. You just delete it and start again. So we're going to highlight this and then hold, I can't remember if it's control or command. I think it's control on a PC and command on a Mac. So I'm going to highlight total sales by city and then also the cities. Now go to insert and chart. Okay, that still is not working, so that's annoying me. All right, maybe we have to do this first and, this first, control or command, this second. Insert, chart, aha, okay. So now we have this, and so I can come and change the chart title, but one thing you want to do is you're going to need to move that chart. So with it selected, you can go to this move chart button, and you can say as a new object in a new sheet, or you can do a new sheet. So I'm going to do total sales by city, and click OK. And now it's going to fill that whole page with your chart, and you can come in and start changing these different chart types. You can right click and choose what data points you want to see on here. So I can choose different chart. Let's do this and see how it's showing you that 27% is, Lakewood. Okay. So I can right click and choose select data or format data labels. So I can come in here and say category name and choose whatever I want to add on to there. So I think that looks pretty good. So now I might make my second chart and then this assignment is done. So again, you're making charts and you're also organizing all this information. Now it's just for me to format to make it easier to read.